Well, good evening. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's Thursday, September 14th, 2023, and this is an update on Hurricane Lee for the All Hazards Consortium's Sensitive Information Sharing Environment, where we help move utility vehicles across states safely and into areas where they can restore power quicker, and to help the sharing of sensitive information across private sector organizations to improve situational awareness and decision making. Well, Hurricane Lee continues to expand in its wind field, even though winds have now been reported at 85 miles per hour as a Category 1 hurricane. That's not the big story, folks. The big story is that the wind field is expanding even further. What does that mean? Well, you can see from the satellite picture that the storm looks larger, and it is. And when a wind field expands on a hurricane, it means that it has a lot more water that it's pushing. Think of a circulation going around and around and around. As you expand that area of circulation, you're going to be pushing more water. Let me take it full screen here and show you what's going on. You can see Lee. There's no mistaking Lee right here, and that's Lee spinning around. Off the coast now of about North and South Carolina here, and you can see that the outer cirrus clouds, look at these outer clouds, they're starting to move over the state of Maine and Cape Cod. So if you look up and see those wispy clouds today, that is the outflow from Hurricane Lee. And Lee is moving to the north now, 360 degrees, moving to the north at 15 miles per hour. That motion is expected to continue for the next couple of days, which puts areas like eastern Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Cape Cod, Woods Hole, those areas, under the gun for tropical storm force winds, and more importantly, a storm surge. There is a storm surge possibility of 1 to 3 feet, even 2 to 3 feet, in Cape Cod Bay, because when the storm moves to the north, the winds will be coming very strong from the north and the northeast, piling water into Cape Cod Bay. Well, let me take you over to GeoCollaborate, and I can elaborate about that a little bit more. You can see the wind field again. Here is the current position of Hurricane Lee as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, September 14th. This is the forecast period for 12 hours and 24 hours from now. So in 24 hours, the hurricane is expected to be 85 mile an hour hurricane, so maintaining its strength, but the wind field getting larger. I'm going to take you up here to where it starts to impact the outer parts of New England. And so I'm going to zoom in here pretty close and show you what it looks like. So these are the 34 knot wind extension from the center of the storm during the day. Let's click here and just make sure we have this right. September 16th at 2 a.m. So that's Saturday at 2 a.m. Cape Cod should be feeling tropical storm force winds from Hurricane Lee. That will actually kick into gear. I will turn on the estimated time, or the most likely time of arrival for hurricane and tropical storm force winds. So let's see here. Earliest tropical storm force winds. I'll turn that on. There we go. So if you're in Cape Cod, you can expect the onset of tropical storm force winds to happen Friday. Move that Friday at 2 p.m., just entering areas like Martha's Vineyard. And then by about 3, 4, 5 p.m., entering Cape Cod. And then certainly into southern Maine, extreme southeastern Maine, down east Maine by Friday evening between 8 and 10 p.m. So this is the most likely time where tropical storm force winds will begin impacting these areas. So that is south and east of Boston on the Cape. So it includes Plymouth and Bedford, definitely Falmouth and Barnstable, also Woods Hole. You should be experiencing tropical storm force winds Friday afternoon. and then they will continue to move up into coastal Maine Friday evening, overnight Friday, and during the day Saturday into coastal Maine. So that is exactly the official Hurricane Center forecast. Lee is expected to be about a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane transitioning into an extratropical storm. That means nothing for any of us living in Maine or coastal Maine or eastern Massachusetts. It's just a meteorological term to describe the structure of the storm more accurately. But the impacts are going to be widespread. We're going to have impacts of rain. We're going to have impacts of wind. There are lots of pine trees that are out there, and a lot of rain has already fallen in Maine and southeastern Vermont or New Hampshire and Massachusetts, where they had terrible flooding in central Massachusetts. I think you're going to be right on the borderline of where that rain is going to fall. Central Massachusetts may dodge a bullet as far as the rain is concerned, but keep your eyes open for any potential rain that may move inland from the spiral bands from this storm. The main impact is going to be wind, and it's also going to be rain in Maine with how heavy the rain falls. And you know what you had over the summer. It's not going to be pleasant if you get 3, 4, 5 inches of rain and that impact. Why is that? Well, there is a lot of coastal property, obviously, in Maine. It's beautiful. A lot of nooks and crannies where storm surge can get in and that wind can blow in and over low roads. And they actually did have that in December of 2022. They had a big storm there. So let's talk about the impacts. The impacts from Lee will look like this. Vulnerable infrastructure, such as utility lines that are open to tree limbs falling down, to trees being toppled. Anyone who lives up in the Maine area and down East Maine should have enough supplies to be without power for 2 to 5 days. I know some of the estimates are probably lower than that, but it doesn't hurt to have that kind of supply available during that period of time. Essential cell phone towers are going to be vulnerable. They're built pretty tough, but tropical storm force winds have a way of impacting those towers. And flooding is likely. So that's going to impact the movement of goods and services across state lines and across just between towns. And that's what we're trying to do here at the All Hazards Consortium, is to implement data sharing policies that allow trusted data to be shared across platforms. Be careful for flooding, heavy rainfall, and storm surge that will come in and flood low roads that are close to the coastline. So that's it for this update. Tried to keep it a little bit shorter. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. We'll be back again tomorrow. Lee will be even closer to impacting the Northeast U.S., and we'll get a little bit more detailed with some of the timing of these winds. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.